Hello. I don't know if there's words on the screen. That is just the filter. Couldn't find a half decent one. All right. Hello and welcome to this video. I'm so excited about this video. Let's see what this, yeah, I don't know what that does. Because this is one of my favorite topics, freedom. And I am somebody who's freedom's my main core value. I guess you would say value. I value freedom above so many other things. And why I kind of do everything I do, it's all based on freedom and why I've lived the life the way I've lived. And so I posted a question in my Facebook group and on my personal Facebook profile about where in their life people feel they don't have a lot of freedom. And I was really surprised at some of the answers. I think of it so differently. And I was like, oh, wow, I guess I think about the word freedom so differently because it's been something I strive for, that I choose in my life. And this is some of the main things. So I want to go over some things because this might help some people who are feeling like, oh, I wish this and I wish that, and like down or focusing on the ways they don't have freedom. Because I can't believe how differently, I guess, I think about it than other people. And why that makes such a great difference is because I feel like I have a lot of freedom and I don't live feeling super repressed, right? Or super angry. Now, when 2020 started, yes, I felt like I lost my freedoms and I was really pissed off. And I literally thought I'm just going to kill myself because I'm not going to live in the world that's like this, right? So a lot of the growth that I've done has been since 2020 in a way that has caused me now to live in such a more empowered way and feeling good within myself. So that's what I want to talk about because I'm hoping this might help some people who maybe feel like they don't have a lot of freedom. And sometimes when you get older, I'm 60 now, it's a Facebook filter. So, they also feel like you lose your freedom. And that's probably why health is number one to me, right? Health is number one and always health, freedom and health. Because if you don't have your health, you really don't have a lot of freedom. So I strive and always have to have health. And so if you're somebody who's like, oh, I know I've been putting health back on the back burner, don't stop it. Now is your time, right? So we all have. Now I'm talking about Canada, the US. I'm not talking about certain other countries, right? I'm talking about us who live here in North America. Now the way the world's changing, and if you go through some of the conspiracy truths or conspiracy theories, the truth theories, which are all based on mostly truth. Now we all know that. It seems like, wow, we could really, as the time goes on, are we going to lose all our freedom? Are we going to be, but I also believe that we get to choose our own timeline, and that's a whole different video. But we really choose how we experience our world out there. And so this is how I've always thought, because I'm always someone who's like, I want to live the life I want to live. I don't want to be controlled, constricted by people or situation or my environment. That's just the way I was. I was born that way. So there was something, this is how I think about it. I always have choices. No matter what's going on in my external world, I have choices. That's the part of freedom I'm talking about. Freedom of choice. Now, a few people said taxes, and I thought that was so strange. I'm like, I don't even relate freedom and taxes together. There's some things that if you choose to live in a certain society, if you choose to live in a certain country, then if taxes are part of that country, then yeah, you pay taxes. But again, that's your choice. You choose to live in Canada. And one of the things right now in Canada is that we pay taxes. Hi, Pamela. So, right, we pay taxes. So taxes are not a loss of freedom. In a way, you got to think about yourself. You turn it into yourself, right? How am I experiencing or feeling not free? Then you look at, okay, well, let's say it was a job or it is a relationship or it's something like that. Well, then you chose to be in that relationship. You chose to stay in that relationship. You chose the line of work you're in. You chose to accept that line of work. You chose to continue to be in that line of work if you feel you don't have freedom in that, right? And then for people who say, well, I have to be at this job or I have to do this because this is the way I make my money. there's many, many ways to make money now, right? So the way I think about freedom is we always have freedom of choice. I'm not perfectly, completely so happy with every single thing in my life, right? Like I'd like to spend my winters in Mexico. I do have the freedom to do that. I do. It's only me that is stopping myself from doing that. It's only me. Do you see what I mean? I have the freedom to do that. Just like someone else who says they don't have the freedom to leave their job. Yes, you do. You have the freedom to leave your job. But there's always, with freedom comes responsibilities. With every choice you make comes responsibilities. You see what I mean? Like we can choose something, but we know that if I choose this, then these are the consequences or the responsibilities that come along with it, or the change that comes along with it, or the way of life that comes along with it. You still have the freedom to choose that. Do you see what I mean? I'm just sharing this to my group. So if you're on YouTube, sorry about this. Then you think, okay. That's my dog. Okay. So we have more choices. We have freedom of how we want to feel because you get to also choose your emotions. There may be things that are happening to you that you feel are causing you, right? So let's say bad things are happening in your life. So therefore you're feeling anger, frustration, and worry. But you can choose to stay in the situation you're at. You can choose to feel angry, frustrated, and bitter about it. Or you can choose to say, oh my God, this is happening to me. So I'm going to get out of the situation, work on getting away from this situation, remove myself from this situation, not be with this person anymore. Whatever. You see what I mean? We always have the freedom to choose. So our life, we don't have an unfree life. It's because of what we choose. Even to where, like I said again, the city you choose to live in, the country you choose to live in. Now you may say, well, I don't have money to just go move and live in another country. My family's here. But you have the choice. You can do that. Do you see what I mean? You have the freedom to go live in another country and to get a job in another country or to work online while you're living in it. You have that freedom. So it's not a loss of freedom. And people so when we start thinking that way, you will see and you will start owning and taking responsibility, right? And you will start owning your freedom, right? So another thing, when in 2021 or whenever it came off that some people lost their jobs because they wouldn't get that, that thing that they were forcing people to get. And, I'm so glad I didn't have to be put in that situation because I'm 60 and I would have, like, if I'm close to retirement and I would have had to lose a whole bunch of money, that sucks. But anyways, but still, no, if you wanted to stay in that job, that freedom was lost. And that's terrible. But you still had freedom to quit, which is sucky, right? We still had the freedom to quit. Yes, it would require you to restart a different way of working or on that, right? But there's still that freedom to say no, which some people did. Some people said no and some people said yes and stayed, right? So we had that freedom. Although I know what you mean at that time, that was probably one of the worst instances. We make choices. We have the freedom to say yes. We have the freedom to say no. I'm just reading what I wrote. We have the freedom to take an action. We have a freedom not to take an action. We have a freedom of how we choose to respond or if we don't respond. We have freedom to how we choose to act and how we choose not to act, right? We have freedom how we choose, if we choose to stay in a situation or if we choose to go, right? How we choose to be as a person, how we choose not to be as a person. What we choose to put up with and what we don't choose to put up with. You have the freedom of choice. And when you have the freedom of choice, that's true freedom. That's true freedom. And I know most of you know the book by Viktor Frankl. I forgot the name. All of a sudden it just went away. He was in a concentration camp and he found kind of happiness. And the whole book's about you have a choice how you react and respond and live in a situation that may seem completely helpless, right? So we always have that choice. Is it easy? No. There's always, whatever choice you make has an outcome. It has, thank you. You have responsibilities and you have circumstances and all of that for every choice you make. So your freedom of choice is up to you. I'm choosing to. You choose. But know that once you make that choice, yes, there is something else that's on the other side of that. And that's what you're choosing into. If you choose to leave a relationship, then you're choosing to be single. Then you're choosing to find a place to live on your own, or maybe move countries, or maybe move cities, or maybe start a new job, right? That's on the other side of it. That may seem scary. That may seem like, oh my God, but you are not stuck. You have the freedom of choice. You would just have to figure out, and you can, you're all powerful. If I choose to leave this job or this person or this circumstance, then I need to build a new life for myself. How am I going to build a new life for myself? That's what you get to figure out. That's something you are then deciding to do, right? You have the freedom to lose weight. You have the freedom not to lose weight, right? There's nothing that's hopeless. Even with a disease or illness, there's people that have had spontaneous healing. There's people, right, that have healed themselves of stage 4 cancer. They had a choice, they decided, and they found a way. Was it easy? Probably not. Can everybody do it? I don't know. I think everybody has the ability, but will they? And also another thing is, are you willing? Are you willing to do what it takes when you decide to say no to something, or when you decide to say yes to something? That freedom of choice, right? So with people, a lot of people are like, I can't leave my job. I need the money for rent. I need the money for this. I need the money for that. And then if someone says, well, there's lots of ways you can make money online. There's lots of I hate to say multi-level marketing. I'm in a couple, but I don't really know. What do you call them? I forget the name for them. Network marketing. There's so many network marketing companies now with fantastic products. And then someone might say, well, I don't want to do that. Well, then you're making a choice not to try something that you could possibly do to make a life for yourself and make lots of money, but you're choosing not to do it. So you're choosing to say you're stuck because you're saying no to something, right? So we always make these choices. We're never really stuck. We're just stuck because we're not willing to do something to get us out of that. And I know that you get to choose what you do. There's so many ways to make money now. It's totally fine for a woman my age or in our 50s to be single now, right? It's totally fine for us not to own a home at our age. Right? There's so many things now that are more acceptable than ever before. So we are more powerful. We are more empowered. We have more opportunities. We have more possibilities. And we have the power of choice. And we have our own personal powers, right? I'm talking a lot to women, but we are strong. We can overcome anything. We can work through anything, right? You get to decide now how your life is going to be and how you're going to feel while you're in that life, right? There's always things to start doing. So even if right now financially it's harder to think, how am I going to make those changes? Then you start by making the changes within yourself. There's also lots of YouTube videos on ways to change your mindset, change the way you think about things. Or if you have illness, or if you have pain, or if you have anything you're dealing with, there's lots of things you can do to start to change the inside, right? Like to say, I'm going to start eating healthier. I'm going to research this. I'm going to try something like this. I'm going to reach out to a person. I'm going to do, right? And ask God, source, universe also for support. Please guide me to somebody who can help me. Please guide me to some information that'll really help me or get me on my healing track. I'm open to possibilities. Please allow me to see something that is going to help me, right? So we are always guided, and you have control when you are conscious of it, of the way you're thinking and the way you're feeling, and the actions you take and the habits you have, right? So to begin this personal growth, or to begin to make changes, it always starts from inside. So that is also choosing to have time for yourself so that you can begin this inner process. To begin, right? To discover, how am I holding myself? What do I believe is not possible for me right now? Why do I feel I'm stuck? What do I feel I have no freedom with, right? Like, where do I feel I don't have freedom? And when you get right to the, you have freedom. We have freedom here where we live right now. Because you're choosing to live here. So if you choose to live here, then there's guidelines to live by. But also, you can, I mean, if someone, you'd have the money, right? There's always a way, like some people just go off and live in the bush. Some people go off and live on someone's land in a tent. That if you want to do where you're fully away and don't have to answer to anybody, there's people that are living like that. Is that what you'd want to do? Probably not. But those options are there. There's always options that are there. It's just when the option where you're going to say, no, I'm not willing to do that. If you're not willing to do something to create a little more freedom, then you're choosing to stay where you are. Right? If you're choosing to live in the country, US and Canada, well, then you pay taxes. But taxes aren't taking away your freedom. It's you're choosing to live in a place where you pay taxes. You have the freedom how you wake up and feel in the morning. You can wake up in the morning and feel bitchy and cranky, or you can wake up in the morning and find things to be grateful for. You can wake up in the morning and do some exercising and move your body and go for walks and sing a song and dance to music. You can do that. Right? We always have so much more freedom. And that's the way I've chosen to think about freedom. Now, I've traveled tons and tons of places in the world. And I chose to. I started traveling at the age of 17. I chose to. I worked. I saved up my money. I went traveling. Right? I chose certain things. Now, I've never had nice furniture. I've never had new furniture. I've never had I've lived in nice homes, but I've never owned really nice homes. That's a choice because I wanted the time, the freedom to spend money on other things that I really, really wanted to do. I wanted to feel free. I wanted to have freedom of choice. I wanted to have freedom of movement. So I arranged my life so that would happen. But as some people see me, they may say, you've sacrificed a lot. I don't feel like I've sacrificed a lot because that was always a choice. I made choices all the time. When I moved to Vancouver Island from Alberta, Canada, I left a job that would have had an extremely good pension, an amazing healthcare plan, and more pay than I've ever made again. I was making when I was young. I was getting paid extremely well. Now, people thought I was crazy to leave. But I didn't want to live that life anymore. So I left really extremely good pay, really good benefits, and 8 or 9 weeks paid holiday a year. I left that. And I left my family to move somewhere where I really wanted to live. Because I'm like, I want to experience the outdoors. I want to experience beauty. I wanted my environment to be amazing. Because that was a choice. But I came here and I worked at a gym behind the front desk. My salary, that went down. I've lived in really tiny places. I live in a tiny, tiny place now. I don't own a lot, right? I live very simply, but that's my choice. So I have been able to travel and do amazing things. But those are my choices because I designed my life so that I could do those things. I said yes to some things and no to other things. And there's a lot of people my age, my friends, who said yes to the things I said no to and no to the things I said yes to. So our lives ended up very different. Right? But that's just a choice. And yeah, so I just wanted to come on and just, the way I think about freedom and the way I think about life is that freedom is always there for us. It's always there for us. It's different levels. What level of freedom do you want to have? Who's here, and do you guys agree with me, or do you think differently? I'd love to know. And if you're watching the replay, comment in the comments, because I'm honestly really just doing the way I think about it. But the way I think about it makes me feel really happy and free, right? I feel really good about the way I think about things. But it's always a choice. If I was to think about, well, I'm still not in Mexico in the winter. Well, because I haven't chosen to really extremely go full on in my business and build it. And that's what I'm deciding now, right? Now, I want to make enough money to be able to go live in Mexico in the winters and maybe still have a place here. So my choice, that's my choice. I'm not, well, because I don't have enough money, I can't do that. No, it's my fault. My responsibility to make more money so I can do that. If you're in a job and you want to change a job and you're afraid that then you make more money, find another job, find a side thing. If you say you're too busy, well, you set your life up so you're too busy, right? It's like we need to just change things for ourselves. We are powerful. We have the choice. We can do it. You can do it. There may be a little rough spot to go through, but you can do it. If we sit back and believe that we are not, hi Lynn, that we can't do something, that we don't have the freedom, that there's no way, then you are the one taking your freedom. You are giving your freedom away to a job, to a situation, to health, to your health reasons, whatever, right? But we are responsible for, if you feel you don't have freedom, then you're responsible for getting back your freedom because you're the one who gave it away. And that may be really hard to hear. And I want to inspire people that you can gain back and you can make the changes. If not now, when? This world, we have no idea what it's going to do. This world is so crazy. Like so crazy. Like this is what we've seen. I am not going to feel trapped. I am not going to allow myself to be trapped. I am not going to choose to live in an environment where there's 15-minute cities and where they control in everything you do and say. That's not my reality, right? I'm not going to live in that reality. So I'm not going to worry and focus on that being my reality. We are what we focus on, right? What you focus on expands. What you think about, you create. So let's change the focus. What do you desire? What do you want? How do you want to live? How do you want to experience life? And start changing to that. Start focusing more on that than the frustrations and the worries and all of that. Yes, so true. So true, Lynn. And I had jobs, and I still do have a part-time job. We still can work for it, right? That's a choice. That's still my choice, like I said, because I haven't, taking full responsibility, built my network marketing company and my own business right now. I could totally build those so that I could be fully and completely financially abundant for me and travel. I could do that. And I'm choosing to do that, yes. But I'm not saying I'm stuck here and have no freedom because I don't have enough money. Because I don't have enough money is my problem. And it's my fault. And I take full responsibility. It's no one else's problem. Right? So I hope that that makes sense. I choose to feel free. To know that I have the freedom too. I have the freedom too. Right? I will choose. Yes, I'm choosing this. So when am I going to go about getting that? How am I going to go about making that happen? When your mind goes, there's no way that can happen. I don't think that's going to happen. I have no way. How is that going to happen? We got to switch from that into how can I make this possible? What's the next thing I can do? How can I start today? What's the next step I can do? Who can I reach out to for help? How can I research this more to learn how I can do it? And then also the whole manifesting, right? Like really working on being in that thought pattern, being in that situation so that you attract it. I mean, there's a whole thing behind that because all the possibilities are really happening right now. Anyways, so that's a whole other thing. All right, I would love to know your comments and what you think on this topic. And if you disagree with me, that's totally fine, because that's just the way you are choosing and what you're choosing to believe and how are you choosing to live, right? So much love to you. Oh yes, I have a program that's going right now, and we work on all of this kind of stuff because this is the inner work. When you begin to change this, the inner you, that's where the outer you begins to change, because then you start to take action towards it. Then your thoughts start to turn more towards what you desire and how you want to make change in your life in a positive way. It uplifts your moods. You stop the worrying, the frustration, feeling like things aren't possible, and you work towards. It's about mind, body, soul, health, wellness, all of that. So reach out to me if you're interested. All right, have an absolutely amazing night, evening, day, wherever you are. Bye.